Now I'm going to show you some buttercream flowers, but to start with I'm going to show you why I freeze my cupcakes. As I showed you earlier, I put them in a bag and put them in the freezer. Now when I start to pipe my flowers, I remove them straight from the freezer and pipe onto them. I don't bring them out to defrost them, I use them immediately. This is purely because the buttercream sets quicker. In the summer it's a game changer because obviously you're dealing with hot hands, the heat, the humidity, etc. So if you pipe straight onto a frozen cake, it's so much easier. I've literally just removed this from the freezer. The ones I had frozen earlier, not the ones I baked earlier. And I've flat iced the second they come out. Also makes it a lot easier when you're flat icing because you're not pushing against the case, which can happen if they're fresh. Now it's a scientific fact that their cupcakes are actually more moist if you freeze them. People are always worried about it. They always say to me when I do classes about, they always freeze their cakes, but they've never thought of doing their cupcakes before. Now it's exactly the same principle. You know, you don't hesitate in freezing a large cake, but they don't with cupcakes because they always say that their cases peel. As I explained earlier, if you wait until they're completely stone cold and then put them in the freezer, they're absolutely fine. The only other reason you could have the issue of peeling cases is because the cupcake is slightly undercooked. That can always happen as well. So just bear that in mind, that you might need to pop your cupcakes in for a bit longer. So as I say, I've flat iced there. And the other beauty of doing this is if you go wrong, you can shake it off and go again without getting any crumbs anywhere. But I'll show you an example of that. So to begin with, I'm going to show you the Swirl Rose. For this you use the Wilton 2D. Most people have this as a standard nozzle anyway if you're doing big cakes, or you want sort of the Mr. Whippy shape if you're doing, say, flavoured cupcakes. So this is what I use for the Swirl Rose. If you haven't got a 2D, it's fine. As long as it's a closed star nozzle, it'll be fine. This is a Wilton nozzle. So I'm going to show you about two-toning here. So to get the nice stripe on the cupcake, I use a darker pink to kind of run up the side. You can do it up one side or two sides, whichever you like. I'm going to run this up two sides today. It's like I did earlier. Up the side. And I'll do the same the other side. So as you can see there, that's one side. Now I'm going to do the opposite. Like so. Now I'm going to pop the white just inside the bag. Quite often when I do my classes, everyone always says, oh, I can do the Swirl Rose, I've been doing that for ages, whatever. But there's a certain way of doing these where you don't end up with loads and loads of rows of petals. Most people's common problem is going too quickly. It's all just really slow. It's like that with all my flowers. Just do it all really slowly and calmly, and then you'll have a beautiful Swirl Rose. So to begin with, vertical. Touch the cake because it's got to adhere to something. Squeeze, turn. As you can see, I've got the nozzle in the air. It's not touching the other petal, and I'm going really slowly. And some people go the other way, that's absolutely fine. But if you go slowly, you're not putting hundreds of rows in. Like so, then you come off at 1 o'clock. So that's a Swirl Rose. Now if you didn't say like that, all you have to do is shake it off. That's the beauty of freezing them. You wouldn't have that if it was a fresh cupcake. Some of the cake would have gone with it. Whereas this, you've got a nice flat surface again, so you can go again. So touch the cake, squeeze, now start to turn. But as you can see, my nozzle's in the air. I'm not touching any other petal. And let it just drape round. so you can't see any of the case. And come off at 1 o'clock. Or obviously if you're going the other way, you'd be coming off at 10 o'clock. Some people go the opposite way to what I do, so you'd be coming off here. But I always come off at 1 o'clock. And that's your Swirl Rose. And the difference is with this, doing the two-tone, it makes it look more realistic again, by having the edging on it. Again, you can do it the other way around. You could have done it pink with a white edge, whichever you like. But give that a go first.